We'll talk basketball too. How much can you go into past 12:30 or no? What's your time?
Yeah, I can go past 12:30.
Okay, we might do that depending on. But yeah, so I'd kind of sense that we would. So. This is one of my favorite Vols writers, Caleb Calhoun, all for Tennessee. You've heard me speak highly of the website, especially in the off season, because last year I was really impressed with kind of the list that you did. You know, here are the 10 greatest quarterbacks in Tennessee history or something. It keeps interest alive in the off season. Quite frankly, it also keeps interest alive when a team is 4-8. And, you know, then when you're Tennessee, sometimes you look back to be a fan at times. Caleb Calhoun, though, the Vols have to look forward to hiring a new running backs coach. Why did Robert Gillespie leave after 2 months under a new coach? What's up with that?
I'm not sure. I have no idea what went down that caused this. If you remember, this is actually a parallel situation to 5 years ago. Jay Graham left. He was retained on Rich Jones' staff, and then I think like a month later he left for Florida State. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if my memory is exactly right, but I think he left after signing day 2. So I'm not sure what went on in this. Again, Gillespie was the recruiting coordinator, and I don't know if coaches were disappointed in the outcome of National Signing Day. I've written a lot about this. If they were, that would be ridiculous because given what Tennessee was working with, it was hard to secure any of these last-minute top recruits. But I'm honestly as dumbfounded as you on how this would have happened at this particular moment when it sounds like Pruitt really wanted to keep Gillespie as a holdover from the staff.
It was the situation where you kept hearing he's a great recruiter or the best recruiter on the staff. The work, and you wrote this today, and it was, you saw what a threat Alvin Kamara was when he did his first year in the NFL as Rookie of the Year. How about this? Jalen Hurd is 6th all-time on the Tennessee rushing list. I mean, and you wouldn't, you have that, and you talk about John Kelly, who had a decent year. I mean, I can remember games in which they thought that it was Kelly right, Kelly left, Kelly up the middle, and when everybody's bearing down on you, it's tough to get first downs, and that was the Vols offense for a period of time last year. I do give you that. But nevertheless, Kelly is supposed to be perhaps the only player from Tennessee that's even going to get drafted in the NFL draft, at least in the first 4 rounds. And if he's able to make it there, but he's considered the top prospect, and certainly in many ways, drop pass against Florida or no, was the star of the team last year. So I asked, we asked this: how good of a coach do you think Robert Gillespie was? I'm praising him here for his results, but what's your opinion, Caleb Calhoun?
Well, it depends on. He was a very good coach for Tennessee, I thought, for 5 years, particularly as a recruiter. One of the things that was underrated was his development of players. Now, Hurd, I think, did turn out to be a bust. I think with Hurd, that was more about, again, I've talked about this, but Butch Jones just trying to find a 5-star no matter what, even if he didn't fit the system. One of the things that came out, though, is I don't know if you put this on the offensive coordinator, the head coach, or the position coach when a player is underused. But we already have talked a lot about how, and you've seen the stories, I'm sure, about how Alvin Kamara was severely underused while he was at Tennessee. Well, now there's a report that just came out yesterday from another NFL scout that says John Kelly was, quote, criminally underused at Tennessee. And so if we're talking about, how to, properly using players, well, at that point, then you got to put if the position coach is responsible for that in any way, then that is an indictment against Robert Gillespie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if that's Gillespie. I think that's more on the coordinators and the head coaches.
I'm not even sure that any of them were underused because, I mean, if an NFL scout says, oh, Kamara, he only got these amount of carries, he was underused. Do you realize John Kelly was on the roster? Do you realize that Hurd was on the roster? You've got to play all 3. Do you realize that, 3rd and 5 is a passing down? I mean, I can't believe that last year, unless you want to suggest somehow that Kelly didn't deserve to get suspended for the Kentucky game, and I did a commentary that said he ought to get kicked off the team. So, I mean, I'm not going to agree with you there. Okay, Caleb Calhoun, I just, I can't pin that on Gillespie or really any coach here. There is some talk about who could replace Robert Gillespie. Have you looked through any names, and who do you think might be coming in?
Yes, and I actually have a report coming this afternoon on the top 10 candidates to replace them. One of the people that's been, one of the names that's been dropped, I'm sure you've seen it, according to Gridiron Now, Chris Winkie, the top prospect.
Yeah, that was intriguing.
Yeah, that's interesting to me. I don't know if he's the best one, though. I mean, I'm thinking, could Jeremy Pruitt bring Jay Graham back to Knoxville? That's a possibility. And then I thought one name that's kind of going under the radar is Chris Barkley. He's the Purdue running back coach. And Purdue had a massive turnaround offensively last year under Jeff Brom. And Barkley, even though Barkley never worked specifically with Tyson Helton, both are trained in the Jeff Brom, Bobby Petrino offense. So you would think that would be a smooth transition if Barkley were to decide to go to Knoxville.
Well, Caleb Calhoun, I got to stop you there, and we'll come back here. I am a little skeptical of Graham returning because I know how well Texas A&M pays their coaches, and although Gillespie was making $500,000, and it's a profitable program at Knoxville. Back after this. But yeah, I am a little skeptical of